Once again, everyone, 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here. It's Tuesday evening, 27th day of September, and it was a little more like the 27th day of October out there today. It was cool once again, and we've got another chilly day coming up for our Wednesday. We're going to talk a lot about the tropics in this video. Very little, if any, implications for us around here, but a lot of people, of course, have friends and family down in the southeast, and specifically in Florida, who are watching Ian very, very carefully. So we're going to dive into that. But first of all, back here at home, 10 degrees cooler than average today. We only made it up to 60 this afternoon. 70 is par for the course here at the tail end of September. Our averages are falling quickly at this time of the year, but we should still be not far from 70 during the last week of the month. All right, our rainfall totals in our viewing area have not added up to much, but there's been some legit flooding problems in parts of northeast Ohio, including parts of Lake, Geauga, Ashtabula County, eastern Cuyahoga County, over into Erie County, PA as well. We'll get some radar estimates here of just the last 48 hours. I mean, 4 or 5 inches of rain, pretty common from Ashtabula over towards Geneva on the Lake and heading down into wine country across parts of the I-90 corridor in northeast Ohio. But as of this recording at 7:18, we don't have a lot going on. We had some pretty beefy showers around for a time this afternoon that produced a little bit of thunder and lightning and even some small hail in some parts of our area. Also made for some really nice rainbows, I should say. Thanks to everyone for sharing your pictures with us online today, whether it be on social media, the 21 Storm Tracker app, or our email address, weatherpics, at wfmj.com. Showers will remain possible as we head through the overnight. All right, let's take a look at a more interesting radar. This is off the Key West radar in, of course, the Florida Keys, and of course, Ian is now close enough that it's within radar range and very well-defined eye. This thing is strong, and it's going to get stronger, I think, as we head through the night tonight, and oftentimes with tropical systems on the right-hand side of that cyclonic flow, you get pretty good conditions for tornadoes, and we've had a few tornado warnings in parts of South Florida today. Tornado watch in effect for Fort Myers, heading down towards the Keys and over towards Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach as well. Impressive satellite presentation, of course, with Ian, and as of the 7 o'clock advisory, Category 3 storm, 120 mile per hour winds, gusts to 150. Now, the movement northward at 10, and the pressure 947, so it's moving at a decent clip. It's going to slow down a little maybe as it approaches the coast, but there's been some changes in the overall thinking as far as the landfall location, and the implications for that are pretty big across a lot of South Florida. Now, it does look like at this point that a landfall is likely, maybe not far from Sarasota, Wednesday afternoon. This is going to come in south of Tampa Bay, it looks like now. So the landfall is a little bit faster because it kind of makes that right-hand turn into land instead of taking more of a northward track and staying mostly over the water. So a landfall likely Wednesday afternoon, south of Tampa, closer to Sarasota, maybe between Sarasota and Fort Myers along the west coast of Florida. Now, the hurricane will weaken, of course, some as it goes over land, but it may still be a Category 1 hurricane when it's centered closer to Winter Haven and Orlando. Disney World is closed tomorrow as a result of the very nasty weather coming for our Wednesday in Florida. Now, this is heading into favorable conditions for further development. Wind shear loft, not really much to write home about, and the water is just bath water here. We don't have a lot of buoys in our in-house graphic system here in this part, but you can see by the coloration, this is warmer water, probably warmer than this 81 degree buoy just off the Keys. There's going to be some water temperatures in here between 85 and 89 degrees, just warm, if not hot water, basically, for this hurricane to feed on. So tropical storm force winds, a lock, a sure bet. Tampa down towards Marco Island, Sanibel, places like that. Sebring, Orlando, very strong chances of seeing at least tropical storm force winds. That would be 40 miles per hour or higher. You'll notice the southeastern part of Florida, closer to Miami, maybe some strong gusts, but the worst of the weather will certainly be north and west of Miami. As far as hurricane force winds, 74 miles per hour or greater. Very good bet along the west coast. Odds do lower of seeing winds that strong once you get up towards Tampa and especially north of there. But pretty close to the center of circulation, of course. Pretty high odds that we're going to see some damaging winds as this makes landfall on Wednesday. Now, The wind is only one story, and hurricane categories are based on the wind speeds, but oftentimes the bigger impacts for a lot of people comes from the water, storm surge and flooding from rain and storm surge. So you look at some of these places south of Tampa now, Fort Myers, down towards Naples, Marco Island, pretty good chance of storm surge of 9 feet, 10 feet, or even a little bit higher. Thankfully, up towards Tampa Bay, for residents up there, the storm surge should be a little more manageable with a farther south track and more of an offshore flow now, because remember, the circulation around that cyclonic circulation brings more of a land wind into Tampa Bay as opposed to the water being shoved into the bay from the eastern Gulf of Mexico. The rain's going to be incredible, though, because this thing is not going to be moving very fast. So anywhere you see kind of this bright yellow, including the Tampa and Orlando area, maybe up towards Jacksonville as well, and over towards the Space Coast, you're talking about at least 10 inches, if not 15 to 20 inches worth of rain coming in the next couple of days. This is going to be a problem. I mean, this is not going to be just the kind of thing as tropical systems often are in Florida, where the weather's bad for 6 hours and then it's gone. The sun might even come out. This is going to be an issue for a good 36 to 48 hours for the peninsula, and then it may actually head back out to sea briefly and make a second landfall across parts of maybe South Carolina or Georgia. So I don't expect rapid strengthening once it goes back out to sea, because it won't be over the water very long, but may technically make a second landfall somewhere in South Carolina or Georgia, and a swath of heavy rain accompanies this. Augusta, Georgia, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, up towards the Outer Banks, Charlotte, and some of the foothills and mountainous areas to the west of Charlotte and the southern Appalachians. A lot of rain coming down there. All right, we'll have much more to say, of course, on the tropical happenings when we do Wednesday's weather for Weather Geeks. By that point, it will probably have made landfall, but we'll have still plenty to talk about. Back here at home, trough of low pressure moving through on Wednesday. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different orientation to our bands on Wednesday. Instead of kind of a west to east flow, this is a little more north to south. The impacts, not really different. This isn't lake effect snow. If this were December through March, we'd be talking about maybe lake effect snow squalls penetrating farther south into our viewing area than the setup we've had over the last couple of days. But this is rain shower activity. It's just another damp and chilly day, no matter what direction the rain is coming from on Wednesday. That trough fades away, high pressure builds in, and clouds will break for some sunshine Thursday and a better afternoon. I'm still expecting a canopy of cirrus clouds to thicken up on Friday. No rain falling out of these, but the day will probably end on a fairly cloudy note. Should be another pretty nice evening for high school football, though, with the rain staying to our south and east. Interesting forecast for late in the weekend and early next week. We've kept our forecast mostly dry. Some modeling is trying to actually funnel a little bit of that tropical moisture back into our region by Saturday night and Sunday into parts of Monday and even Tuesday. We're not ready to bite on that idea just yet. We need to see more consistent modeling, but for right now, we have a dry forecast starting on Thursday, taking us through the early stages of next week. All right, that'll do it for me tonight on Weather for Weather Geeks. We'll have an update on the weekend forecast and much more tomorrow evening. In the meantime, if you're up late tonight, check out our forecast on 21 News at 11 p.m. and anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app.